Hi.
Hola.
You sat on your beads.
I did. Not those kind
There's
of
a joke there. So, what shall we call this one?
A rosary.
Rosary / prayer beads. So what's the purpose of a rosary or prayer beads?
Well, a lot of times it varies in tradition to tradition. Originally, they were, if I remember this right, they were called mala beads or jizu beads. Come out of China and Tibet. They were some from Eastern cultures, and it is said that when Catholic priests went back east, like to the Far East, that's where the rosaries actually evolved from. It's used to count prayers, and then they put a lot of symbolism into different ones. It's fairly common in Buddhist practices to use mala beads or jizu beads to help with chanting or doing devotional prayers and stuff like that, and the same with Catholic rosaries, and which later evolved into pagan rosaries. So honestly, which I've never really seen until probably early 2000s.
Yeah. Whenever I think of anything to do with paganism when it comes to a rosary, if it's not like voodoo or brujeria or a form of witchcraft that involves some form of Christianity, like Old World European, then what I think about is basically just the witch's ladder. So that way you can do your chants without having to think about the repetitions, to kind of like elevate yourself going up a ladder into either astral projection, a different form of consciousness, whether it's going from your beta waves into your alpha waves within the brain, but something that helps you to get into that altered state. So that's the way I see it. If you're either doing that or you make one that has an X amount of like beads on it for a chant that you need to do a certain amount of times for a ritual, which can be made for one specific thing.
Yeah. We have a couple of different examples. Anthony's more are for more magical purposes. Mine are for more training purposes. It sounds kind of kinky.
It does, especially since he sat on it. Sorry about it. So this one is what I use with Hecate. So I have a copper key, I have red quartz beads, and this is all snake vertebrae. So I started doing this because I was actually, and I'm not getting paid for this and I'm not getting sponsored for it, but I'm taking Jason Miller's course for the Sorcery of Hecate, and one of the things that he requires is that we use a rosary for certain things. Now this I'll also use, and I've changed up some of the uses because like with any magic you need to experiment and make it your own to get the best results. That doesn't mean change all the correspondences willy-nilly, but use the base and form it to work whatever spells you're wanting. Now this, I use a snake vertebrae for Serpent Mysteries, and you should do a video on that too. But I use it to count chants because I do daily work with it.
It looks so fragile though.
Does it?
Yeah, to me it looks so fragile. And it looks kind of hard to handle.
Not too bad. Yeah. The only thing is like if I wear it during ritual, like the vertebrae pieces, they like stab me in the neck.
Yeah.
I'm kind of down for it though. But yeah, so I'll use this, and this is something that I use daily. It's not too bad. Yeah. But yeah, I like this one.
It's cute.
And I use the copper key for specific things, but I've also used it for spell work too.
Yeah, and we custom make those. It just takes us some time to get the vertebrae.
Yeah. And
we get the bones from a supplier. We don't kill snakes.
That's a lot of work, and plus I feel bad because some of them are cute and some of them are scary.
With mine, one of the early things that I would use more for training purposes was a little hand set of beads. They're really just made out of wood and put on a rat's tail string. And I would use it to just like do my breathing repetition, so there's a little bit of space that goes in between them. Or if I'm doing chants and I need to say it a certain number of times, then I would just say my chant, then move it over. Or if I'm doing magical exercises and I need to do like breathe in, out, exhale, and then I would do that. And then until I got back to this portion here, where the lump was, where I know stopped again. What in the world?
Kinky. It rocked our world.
Something happened. But yeah, that's just what I would use these ones for, and also makes a cute accessory.
You're like when you're hardcore magic, but you want to be cute too.
Yeah, but this one's mostly for training purposes.
And go ahead and do that one because mine's probably a two-part.
This one, I used to practice a form of Middle Eastern ceremonial magic years ago, and one of the requirements was you had to say certain prayers like 100 times or 101 times. So I have this one that I would use for a ritual. There's like 100 beads on this thing. I can't remember. I think it was like agate and jasper. But, you know, I would just count them and I would do the chant. So I would have to say divine names certain times. It was a lot easier for me to, instead of, you know, one, you know, da-da-da, you know, count with my fingers and losing count. It's easier just to go
I do
with each
something
one.
similar with this one.
So, yeah. And so I do that because a lot of it, too, called for elaborate rituals like lying down on the ground and then saying a chant so many times and then getting back up and stuff like that. So, but these guys kind of took on a pretty good charge, so why I don't use them anymore, but...
I think I could.
Yeah. You know, when I need to ground out, sometimes I'll wear them, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, I've had these for a while, and I just use these for magic, you know, for chanting. Even now, when I got to do certain types of ceremonial magic stuff, or when I'm doing certain type of magic stuff, it calls for something to be chanted several times over. I'll use this.
You have your own little ladder beads. I'm gonna start calling them ladder beads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the next one, this is whenever I was practicing more brujeria and hechicerismo, which is basically Hispanic witchcraft, sorcery. So this one is just a regular Catholic rosary. This one though, I've dressed it, I've charged it, I've cleansed it. It was actually one that was my dad's for a long time. But it's not his no more, is it? And so that one, there's very specific prayers and meditations that go into it with each decade, and then you go into the bead set alone, and that's the next mystery that you meditate on, and then you say the next set of prayers, next mysteries, prayers, mystery, prayers, mystery. And then you say the final prayers, which include like the Glory Be, the Our Father. Now this one was one I got specifically for when I work with Santísima Muerte. And it has the small Santísima Muerte medal. And then it has, in between each decade, is going to be a skull. And these are actually hematite beads all the way around. Now, the funny thing with this one is the mysteries do change, such as the mystery of the scythe, the mystery of the scales, the hourglass. It's going to be more specific to her with the work that's being done. I've also taken this to funerals whenever I was charging it up, like the rosary wakes. I would go sit in it. It's kind of awkward when people were like, "You knew this person?" And I'm like, yeah.
What do you mean by mysteries?
So mysteries are, what does this symbol represent? Why is it something that you need to focus and reflect on? And how can it be applied to everyday life, magic, or otherwise? So with the mystery of the scythe, it goes back into kind of like how most people see agriculture, reaping and sowing. What you plant in life eventually does get taken up by the Santísima Muerte whenever you pass on into death. She comes for you. So it kind of helps you to learn to appreciate your time on earth, which goes more into the hourglass, as well as living more balanced within yourself with the scales. So this is just like a very generic explanation. But it takes a while to begin reflecting on it. I need to clean her. She's got siete machos on the back of her still. But that's one way I did it, and I charged it at her altar. I fumigated it, I anointed it, and I also took it to different people's funerals, and also sat in the cemetery with it to build up more of that chthonic charge.
So how would you for like spell casting and stuff?
For spell casting, I would still use it similar to the witch's ladder, and whenever I'm charging the candle, I would keep it around my hands like this, with a candle or the poppets in between it, reciting the prayers, reciting the incantations, and calling up the certain spirits, making the offerings. I would keep it around my hands, almost like a circle to keep energy within a ritual, but around the actual object. So it keeps building up that concentration, almost like an aura around it, to where once the spell is done, it stays there.
So, and those can be used as regular prayer beads, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like one of those like multi-purpose things. Because if you don't have the tools for something, then you could just use this, break it out. It has the Santísima Muerte, and it's got all the beads for reciting the incantations or prayers.
So let's say somebody wanted to get started on working with prayer beads. What would you suggest?
I would recommend cleansing them. And It would kind of depend on like which pathway you want to go down when working with prayer beads, because if you want to go with more like a hoodoo or a basic curanderismo, hechicerismo, or brujeria, you could go with like a regular like Catholic rosary. But if you're working with like a specific deity, kind of like with my Hecate ones, then I put a symbol of her, where with the Santissima ones, it's got a symbol of her. And of course, everything else on it you would want to correspond to it, whether it's colors, whether the material that the beads are made out of, if they're stones, if they're bones, if they're a certain type of wood. Then I would say kind of try to match up your correspondences. If not, you can always go to the generic rosary style with just regular beads. I recommend wooden more than plastic, but you basically are going to do whatever you want. And if you don't want to keep a crucifix on it, you could just change it to a small pentacle. Or you can have us make it for you. I mean, whatever, you can contact us.
Yeah, we can custom make them.
Yeah, not trying to plug ourselves, but... And I would recommend cleansing them and consecrating them whatever way you wish. If you're going for more of the hoodoo or folk magic style, you can use Florida water, you can use holy water. God, I raided a church so many times for their holy water, it's hilarious.
Oh, my ex-grandfather-in-law would actually
Take a jug.
Yeah, he'd take a couple gallon jugs over to the church and he'd just empty it up. I'm like, you just take it over to the priest and have them do it. They'll do it like that.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. I don't know, I felt like a raider of a lost ark or something. I was like, ha! But I would recommend consecrating it there. If you're practicing it more of a Wiccan style, then you can charge the salt and water, bless it, cleanse it that way, and then charge it with the elements. You can also do it as an elemental exercise, making a certain set of beads for each element and spend your time working on it through that, focusing on the mysteries of that element, how it interacts with this world and how it interacts and corresponds within your body. And so it kind of aligns you with that power.
And the more you work with them, like any magic tool too, it'll build power and strength.
Mm-hmm. Hence why I sometimes wrap it around a spell whenever I'm casting it. Yeah.
So how did you get into working with the rosaries?
When I started working with Santissima, weren't they? Before that, I was kind of like, nah. And then I'm like, the prayers are different. Let's try this.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff on that recently. The pagan prayer weeds have kind of become popular in the past, few years.
Past decade.
Yeah, I've never worked with them. It's for me it was just kind of.
What does that call those?
Well, these were just for mostly training stuff. It was just to help me keep a.
Basically, what I've used it for, but
and stuff like that, or my recitation.
That's basically all it is.
Yeah.
People just like to get flashy with it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've heard of and seen some neo-pagans who will have like the rosary and it kind of just remnants.
Ray T. Malboro.
Yeah, it's remnants of Catholicism.
It is. But Catholicism also, in all honesty, it ripped off of magic practice from the Middle East.
Yeah, a lot of Middle Eastern stuff and everything like that.
Yeah. So. Such as the repetitions, getting into an altered state, because that's all it is when they're using it. Mm-hmm. They just won't admit it. No offense, but sorry about it. Essentially that's all it is.
Yeah, it's a quick video.
Yeah, it's not really hard to explain.
We're about 18 minutes.
Yeah.
So. Now, if your prayer beads were to break, would you consider that a good one or a bad one?
I would say that you had some issues that you need to work through in your life. I think I would take that as a bad thing. Unless you just made it out of really cheap material, then obviously that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, we have a friend who's practicing Santeria, and she has these necklaces and these bracelets, and they're always breaking on her head.
Honestly, I've seen those bracelets.
They're made out of very flimsy material.
They are super flimsy. With her, I wouldn't worry about it because I've seen what they're made out of.
Yeah, it's like.
I'm like, what kind of Dollar Tree stretchiness is this?
Yeah, so she's like, it broke. I'm like, it didn't break last.
And I didn't say that to offend any Santerians because I have a lot of respect for Santeria. But some proprietors take it upon themselves to try to jack up the prices on really cheap material.
Yeah, we've seen it happen a lot. And then I've seen some people try to scam their customers by,
Oh, are you talking about that one person that had their big ass psychic consultant sign and they're like, take this, fill it with water with these herbs and put it in your freezer and then it shatters. There's a darker curse upon you now. For $800 I can remove.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, girl, you put water in a jar in a freezer.
Water expands when it freezes. Science.
Da, 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 da. Bill Nye the Science Guy didn't save you some money.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, we see a lot of that. It's just sad. Well, lately we haven't seen much of it, but
Which is good.
yeah. My eye itches. So, I don't really have anything else to go over for this video unless you got anything else.
It's pretty easy to go over. I mean, if someone has like more specific questions about it, we could make a video about it.
Oh no, just running my altar cloth.
I'm like, my beads are on there, it's not loading.
My altar cloth has got a rabbit. So, yes, we're dorks. We will see you guys next time then, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's another video I want to try to work on.
Yeah.
I'm still fine-tuning some kinks out of it. Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you like, thumbs up, subscribe.
Comment, share with your friends.
Mhm.
Hi.
If
If you don't like it, you can just bounce. Peace.
yeah, we won't hold it against you. It's not a Britney song. I won't hold it against you. So,
hold it against me.
Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe, share. If you have any questions, you can send us a Facebook message at our Totem Room Facebook page, or you can send us an email at totemroom@gmail.com. If you want to order something, let us know. If you're interested about prices about something, let us know. We make oils, incense powders, poppets,
Bath salts.
bath salts.
Not the drug.
Yeah. Powdered incense.
Also with
Rosaries.
the porcelain doll stuff, if you need a spirit put into it, let me know. If you have a specific doll that you want it in, that's going to require you sending it over here. If not, then I can find a doll for the work that you're wanting and customize it.
Yeah, we also do fixed candles. Love, money, success, road opener.
Basically whatever you want.
Yeah. So,
Let's be honest.
yeah, and we also do. We're also starting to do more readings. So if you're interested in that, let us know, and we will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Peace.